Hello everyone, my name is Betharn and I welcome you back to Space Engineers. This is part 4 of our Let's Play tutorial survival whatchamacallit video series in which I fight with my stupid miner that doesn't want to cooperate. I went ahead and relogged. I got my thing working. You're going to go to your timer block. You're going to set up. You're going to make sure your first one is the Midas Mark 1 terminal programmable block run with default argument. And then 2 should be your Midas Mark 1 timer block start. And then you want to make sure you press start so that this is grayed out and you should see the time to trigger pop up every once in a while. When that's set up, this thing should say booting, and then once it's done booting, it'll give you your readout. Now it'll take 3 more minutes to charge. I had a false start recording because everything bugged out on me again for no particular reason. The relog completely fixed all my hotbars. So we are going to go ahead and take this guy out. We're going to go to third person. Our engines are off, so we're going to hotbar 2. We're going to press 6 to toggle off the recharge on our batteries. So now they're discharging. Not so much discharging, they're working properly. There's an actual discharge option in which they won't charge at all. So now power time switches from charge time. The display does take time to update. So now we have 18.5 hours of power. Now we have 1 hour of power. So it just depends on what's being worked. 7 will toggle on our engines. You can see them spinning and blowing out air. And then we'll press 9 to detach from base. And now we are home free. Now I believe our detector is on. Or detector. Put it here since it's toggle block on and off. 7, it's on. Alright, so I forget which way we came in, honestly. I want to say from that direction, so let's go over here. 2 is our coasting thruster, so you see I'm going to toggle them off. Even though our dampeners are on, it'll keep us in the air. However, we will not use those front engines right there to slow down. If I press 2, they will start firing and slowing us down, and that uses power. And if you're going forward, it doesn't make any sense to keep firing your backwards thrusters to keep going forward while your forward thrusters slow you down again, which is just silly. So now we're going to go check out all of these little ice patches, these dark patches in the ice, and we are looking for iron specifically. So we're going to take 1 load of iron home and let it cook because we're going to need a bunch of plates and stuff. So that's gold. You have to turn your dampeners on, or your coasting thrusters back on so you don't accidentally smash into something. You might want to leave them off early on, or at least play around with them so you kind of know what you're doing. Because if you don't, because if you're pointed down kind of like that and you don't have them on, even with your dampeners on, you will smash into the ground. Because you don't have enough thrust to stay up, basically. Alright, so here's another patch we're going to check. I am kind of going a little too fast. You should be very patient with this stuff, especially early on, and you don't have a lot of power, because every bit of power that you spend to speed up, you need to expend to slow down again, which will become very important when it comes to hydrogen. Obviously, there's some iron. So, there's our base over there. So what I like to do is come over here. We see our iron down there, and we're going to be coming from our base every time, so I just like to have a mining tunnel set up, so you just kind of mine straight down. So we're going to press 1 to activate our drills like a hand tool, and we're going to go ahead and that's a little steep, so we're going to bring our angle down a little more. So we're going to go into the ground about yay, like this. That angle is one of the more safer angles. You can go straight down when the ship's empty, but when you fill it up, you will not be able to do that again. So you do need to make the atmospheric mining in the game, I don't find terribly difficult compared to what I've read. So I hope this ship helps people out that have had troubles with it. But you have to make sure you maintain your levelness. You don't want to roll too much to the sides like this. There's both a horizon marker in the middle of your screen up top there, and also that little circle in the bottom right. That's dark gray and light gray. That shows you the horizon, that's completely level with the horizon of the game above ground. When you're mining and you're facing down, you're not always going to see that properly, because if you tilt too far down, you can see it's going to cover that whole thing with dark gray filled in, so you're just not going to see it at some point. So you do need to be very careful. There was at one point in a script in the game that allowed you to use the game's code to find out where the horizon was, and you could override your one of your gyroscopes, and if you didn't level properly, it would override the gyroscope and force you. You can force it to roll you with scripts to basically maintain that levelness, which is something I always wanted to add to my ships for atmosphere, but I don't think it currently works, is the problem. So we're to the iron, press 3 to turn on your lights so you can see, because it gets dark as hell down here. And watch how quickly this fills up. So we're gonna do it in first person so you can watch the display, how it responds. So you just go in here with your left click and watch how quickly this cargo hold fills up. That's our iron, how much we have. This, again, fills about 26,000 and it's basically full. You can see I'm dipping too far forward now when I have that much on there, so you gotta be careful. I think I even needed to actually be a little farther back when I did this hole, which we can do on our way up, which is something I will often do with a mine. If I'm not happy with the entrance that I made, I'll kind of do this. And if you, the third person camera has been buggy for months, is you kind of just right click your way out, and you kind of want to go, you can pull on about this much angle when you're full. You'll see I'm about to start sliding backwards. So that was a decent ascent. Now that's a pretty decent mine shaft because I can go all the way up like that. So, but what you can do is like this, just right click up. It doesn't actually make you much slower. So you can just widen this hole out so that later on when you come in again, you just make sure you can get out more easily, especially if you have to back out. You can spend some time down there before you mine up the ore to kind of widen it, kind of like this in the bottom of the mine, so that you have a lot of room to work with, especially if you're very new to atmospheric mining. You want to have all the safety net you can have, because if you lose this ship down there, it sets you back a lot because you need scrounged components to build another one, and that might be a problem, especially with these inventory settings. It'll be nearly impossible for you to hand mine that stuff because you can only carry maybe 1,000 ore at a time, which is terrible. Especially when you drop, my brother and I dropped with my my strip miner. I was trying a new system to hook it up, which it wasn't designed for, and I forgot to toggle off all but one of my connectors as we were supposed to. So when I toggled it so the ore would come out through the connectors, it just rained ore all over the base, and we had to pick up 500,000 ore by hand with only our default realistic inventory, which is about 1,000 ore per pickup. So that took us a little while to clean up. So yeah, at least it wasn't an easy spot where we could easily build access ports. So we basically just had to stand in the spot, pick up the ore, drop it in the bin, pick up the ore, drop it in the bin. So it didn't take as long as one might think because we didn't have to run anywhere, but it was a lesson in engineering. And that's one of the reasons I really like the realistic settings, is it forces you to engineer your way out of problems. You can't just, oh, I can carry that giant block of ore in my pocket and I don't have to worry about it. It just, you now have to worry about making sure you don't screw up too much or make sure your ships are designed a certain way, all that fun stuff. Okay, so what we're gonna do is drop off here. I think we settled next to uranium, in fact. There wasn't iron in it, but oh, that sucked us in pretty hard. So you press 4. We're gonna go to hotbar number 2, press 6, and then 5 and then 6. 5 and 6. We'll toggle off our engines and recharge our batteries. We're at half power, 62%. So we used about 10 or 15% of our power out there, so not too bad. You can see our cargo hold is almost empty. It probably is, it just hasn't updated yet. Although it might not be if it doesn't have enough room. So we're gonna actually, yeah, it's not fully empty. So we can grab this ore and we can throw it in our refinery. Was our refinery off? Our refinery might actually be off. REF refinery, it was off. So it would have taken it if it wasn't. And then our arc furnace should be blasting the crap out of this iron. If we do this also, you can do iron, search for all of our iron ore. We actually want to grab pretty much all of our iron ore and and throw it in the arc furnace. And then grab all the extra, throw it in the refinery. Then we'll kind of take that out of the refinery after we're done. So that sets us up there. The other thing we need is, if I remember correctly, production tab. We didn't have a lot of interior plates, and we're going to need a lot for our base. We have a large cargo is one of the first things I want to get constructed and going, because it's very efficient in both component size and for ships weight compared to small cargoes. But they do cost all over 400, I think, interior plates alone. So we're gonna shift click for 100, and we're gonna click this 5 times, grab this 500 interior plates. And what is the other? I think we need construction components. So let's build 500 construction components. And we had 26,000 ore. We're gonna get about 60% of that in ingots, which is almost like 18, 19, 20,000. I don't do that math in my head. So we have more than enough iron to build those. So we have extra room. We have a decent number of steel plates, but let's build more. We'll always need more steel plates. Let's get a handful of steel small tubes built. We have a lot of large tubes, so we're fine there. We don't have a lot of silicon that I know of. And then let's go ahead and get a bunch more interior plates built, because we are going to need a lot of interior plates. So that should use up, from that one trip, that'll use up about 60% of our iron. But as you can see, and I'll keep pointing this out and hammering it home because most people do not play this way, is that realistic inventory settings make the game, to me, more of a game. So like, we actually have to work towards a goal. So we're working currently towards building our base. I'm going to get a lot of uranium because that solar power is not going to sustain us. So we need uranium working, because we only started with like 0.3 of a uranium ingot to power. So we need uranium ore, which we will stick in our refinery, and there it is, uranium right there by our base. So we're gonna come over here. We also need that silicon there too. So we're gonna come out here more and build our little entrance mining tunnel. So we know the uranium's kind of there. The small ships ore detector range is pretty abysmal. So hop R1, make sure our drills are selected, press 3 so we can see what we're doing. And we're gonna come down here at about this angle, and we are gonna dig in and get ourselves to that uranium. So we know it's in front of us, and we'll go. One of the reasons I have those lights on the bottom yellow is just to break it up, but also what I'll often do is as a game for mining for myself, to make it a little more interesting when you come back, is try to use those lights alone to line up with the connector below you. It's a little harder with the free-floating connector that I have built currently, but that's not usually the one I have set up for this ship long term. So once I get the actual normal base connector set up, it'll go a little better. So this is very convenient for us. So for our weight is we mined far enough away from the vein, probably too far, but whatever. So we'll have a nice level mining shaft, mining tunnel to mine in, and we won't have to worry about falling over and getting stuck. Because if you fall, and especially if you roll this ship, pretty much any atmospheric ship, unless you over-engineer it to have equal thrust in every direction, which I have tried, and my brother has tried, it's just not worth it in an atmosphere. It's just, it costs so much opportunity cost, essentially, because you have to make the ship exponentially bigger just to carry. So basically you cannot build it with one large engine to hold it aloft. You'll need at least 2 at that point. Then you need 2 in every direction, and then you're looking at needing 3. So it just makes it, you have to build bigger and bigger and bigger, which is insane. So here is going to show you the stone dump working. You can just see there's all my stone. In first person you can see my cargo is filled, but it's going to start emptying. We're mining more stone than uranium. That's often the case with uranium on the planet, because it's usually not big, thick veins like most of the other resources can be. Usually interspliced with the stone. So this is very important to build if you're going to build your own mining ship, especially in the atmosphere. You can get away with it on certain ships in space and stuff, I suppose, but most of my ships will incorporate an ejection system for stone, and you don't want to carry all that around, especially on realistic settings because of inventory and storage space alone. You can't actually stockpile without building a system to stockpile in these inventory settings, which I really like. It actually forces you to build more organic storage systems as opposed to you build one large storage container and you are set for about 10 hours of real-time play before you even have to bother thinking about more storage space, which is silly to me. So while my stone dump works, because it's not fast enough, depending on, if you see I kind of lost control there, you gotta keep an eye on your angle. The stone dump will not work fast enough because there's not enough space to put enough things on to kind of get rid of them all quickly enough. So you're gonna have to take breaks every once in a while to let the stone get pulled out of your inventory so you can put more uranium in, or whatever mineral you currently happen to be mining. But you do want to make sure your trip is a full one. I mean, you already spent the resources to get out here, so you might as well get as much as you can while you're here. Which means no stone. So we'll let it drop our stone. Uranium is at 16,000, so we need 10,000 more, which will be more than enough uranium probably for the foreseeable future, because one of the biggest flaws of the game right now for survival is power is super easy to get a hold of and you never really have to worry about it, which can be good, I suppose. You don't have to worry too much about it, but I feel like since there's no other survival mechanics, that power should be more of an issue. They are planning on putting in hydrogen power generators of some kind in one of the next major updates, so maybe they'll give power in general rework, which will be nice to see. So we'll see just how that pans out. So we're almost full here, so let's go ahead and grab some more uranium. And if you aren't aware that me deleting all that stone is right-clicking, and when you dig your shaft down to mine, you right-click to get to it. Right-click makes a much bigger hole, obviously, than you can see them barely taking any of the stone out here at all. But if I come back here, I'm not even touching the wall, and I right-click, it'll just take out large chunks. You get none of that. So if you use it on ore, all that ore is just deleted from the game and gone forever. It's useful on stone and ice because you don't, obviously, like I've said numerous times, you don't need that much of it. So just delete away, get to the important stuff, and you're good to go. So this is messed up, I want to say. So we're full. It's a connector. So I added the connector to my ore systems. That's why it was the collect all was on. Normally, the reason that caused a problem is normally my hookup for my Midas has a one-way connector, a one-way sorter block on it on the opposite side of the connector, so that the ship cannot actually take anything inside of it, and it can only dump out its ore, and that's it. That's usually how I design it, but I'm doing a makeshift base setup, so just have to manually do some stuff for now. It's fine. It's fine. Totally fine. You want to be very careful with sorter blocks early on, because they are one of the most expensive 2 blocks in the entire game, so you just plain don't want to build them early. It's weird. Some of the things need to be balanced block-wise, because like on a small ship, it's actually cheaper resource-wise to build with small cargoes than it is to build with conveyor tubes. They both basically serve the same function, yet the small cargo costs much less resources to build. The only problem is that it'll clutter up your inventory screen with a bunch of cargoes that hold barely anything, but it's not that big of a deal if you use an inventory management system or a ship like this, where I do have conveyor tubes behind those lights in the middle there connecting my drills to my cargo hold. I could make those small cargoes, but I don't for aesthetic reasons, at least back when my design was not armored. But since it's all the ore is going to the same spot, it doesn't matter that you have a whole bunch of little containers. So it's just up to you. I mean, the savings, small grid ships, this game does scale really well. Small grid ships take almost nothing to build compared to large grid items of similar types. So you don't really have to concern yourself too much with it, with the resources, because you're only saving a couple of armor, and that's only important if you have like a really small starting ship or something, considering the resources that this lander actually starts you with. So what we're going to do is dock here, hotbar 2. Alright, this should grab us 4, 5, 6. Let's go back to hotbar 1, press 3 to turn our lights off, and we can hop on out, and I want to check. It's going to take us 8 minutes to charge this guy if we need to take it back out again, which we probably will for iron, because we're going to need a lot of iron early on. Our assemblers still cruising on through. It's going to take a while to build all that stuff. Again, we are playing with not ×3 assembly speed, I believe is one of the options. What we're going to do is grab the uranium ore and throw it in the refinery, which already burned through all the iron. How about our arc furnace? Our arc furnace also burned through all of our iron. Or at least. So now we have a bunch of ingots. How's that? We have 13,000 ingots, and we've already used a bunch. So yeah, we've used about 5,000 or 6,000 of our ingots that we got back. So now we are basically set on power forever. We have a reactor that's stealing all of our uranium. It's going to our gremlin. So we'll go ahead and let it steal power, and basically that will power our whole base if we needed to. But it's not that important at the moment. I put those on the ship as it says right here, emergency. You don't generally use it on a small ship because small grid, small reactors are one of the worst things in the game. They are so horribly scaled, it's kind of ridiculous. Where's our refinery at? Where's our refinery? It's full. So yeah, so that one trip of uranium is basically going to keep us busy for a long time. We really need to actually build another refinery to do anything else, honestly. So we'll have to get to that next. We have a decent number of ingots, so what we're going to do is we are going to start our base. So this is where our command chair comes in. I built a projector, so where the hell is my projector? Over here. Okay, so there's a projector in here, but I don't quite remember exactly where I put it. But I think I can recall. No. What I'm going to do is build it here. So Control 9, 3. We'll just throw it in here, out of the way, because we're going to tear it down at some point anyhow. Let's put it right next to our other projection rigs. So that should be proper. That's the... no, that's proper. Forget now. Yeah. The cross is on top and the line is on the back, so that should be forward in that direction. So let's go ahead and build this guy. Large tube, motor, plates. Large tube, motor, plates. A couple large tubes. A couple of... seriously? And a couple plates. So projectors are stupidly cheap to build. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I think they should be more expensive, but it's nice because you don't have to worry too much about it. So what we're going to do is, this is the easiest way to use projectors. They can be a pain in the butt if you do it the stupid way like I've done it many, many times. So you open up your K panel. Projector, the white one is on the base. We're going to go to our blueprints. We're going to go down to the bottom, survival bunker tier 1. This will be in the video description, so you can use it yourself if you wish. And it's got multiple grids attached to it, so. It's right side up, which is good. It is also facing in the correct direction because we want the front door to our right, and directly ahead of us. Basically, we're attaching to that hole right there. It is where the front of this thing goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to hotbar number 2. We're going to press G, go to our blocks, and we're going to just grab our regular projector, just down here. Projector. All right. So here, drag it over. Decrease horizontal, increase horizontal. decrease vertical, increase vertical, decrease forward, increase forward. Bam! All right, so we want it forward, which is 6 and 5. So go forward. Right. 5, 5, 5, 6, 6. All right, so that is where is it supposed to be? I forget it. I think right here. Yeah, right here should be exactly where it's supposed to be. So we're gonna want 1 and 2. We'll push it this way, and 3 and 4. We'll push it that way. So we want it that high off the ground. And we need to see if I have it all lined up properly, because I don't, because I actually, okay, so what we want is, see that merge block in the projection? We want it right there. Perfect. So that is where we want the base lined up. Since we deleted the merge blocks for the resources, that merge block is now lined up where it's supposed to be, above that cryopod, as you can kind of see. And then we walk straight through that entrance there. All right, so our projection is established. So now we don't need this chair anymore, for instance. That's why I needed it previously. Now we don't. So we come down in here, and this is what the base looks like inside. Gets rid of this. That's supposed to be a light armor block. So we're not ready to build it yet, or well, the whole thing. What I intend on doing is we're gonna build a walkway over here. And we are going to get the refinery. Basically, we're going to build this chunk of stuff right here. We get the refinery. We're going to get our large cargo pod here. We're going to get these arc furnaces set up. The sorter blocks, which will make our inventory system much simpler to use and a little bit idiot-proof, but not completely. There's our emergency batteries up there. And here's our assemblers over here. And then this is our gremlin hookup inside the base. We have a little garage here with doors. And then on top of the base is where our Midas will sit. Right up here with this connector block. That's the sorter block. That means it cannot pull anything from the base. So it'll shunt all the ore directly out. And I think we just ran out of power. That's not good. Oh. Something took a lot of power. Maybe that projector used a lot more power than I thought. So what? We got batteries. 0 power. Oh, that causes some problems. What we can do is go here, gremlin batteries, turn off recharge. That'll power the whole base and crash my game. So gremlin batteries, we'll highlight them. Okay, fully depleted in 15 minutes. Okay, that's not good. What we do need to do now is get a new power source established, because here's one of the problems with power right now, is this small reactor is not on. Now it is. Alright. They don't produce any power. 500 kilowatts is really low. So with that one reactor also on, it extended our battery life very little. So we just ruined the batteries on this thing, which is fine now because we can actually tear this thing down without worrying about wasting the power. What we do need to do to save power, however, is to... How much uranium ingots do we have on hand? Almost 1. What we do need is a regular reactor, so we're going to go ahead and build one of those. This guy uses a decent amount of power, so what we want to do is probably turn this guy off for now. So we're going to go to our assembler who uses 560 kilowatts of power. We're going to turn you off. We're going to go back to our control panel and see how much power we have. Alright, so we're going to have power problems until the sun comes up. I don't know that we actually have. We're actually going to need stone to build reactor components to build a large reactor. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab, hopefully this guy has some power. I'm going to go grab some more iron, and I'm going to grab a little bit of stone by turning our stone collector, stone dropper off. This has a little bit of uranium on it. We don't want it with us because that reduces the amount of stuff that we can carry. So let's go ahead and just drop in one of our cargo pods here. And we will hotbar 2. We will power up 6, 7, 9, and we can fly. I forgot to GPS mark my iron, which is normally what I will do. I think it's right over here. So turn on our coasting thrusters. Yes, I totally forgot to GPS mark that. So we'll come over here and we will GPS marker it so we don't lose it next time. We have a decent amount of power on this because I think it has been fixed, but one little flaw to the game is that small grid batteries are better than large grid batteries. So you can technically use small ships and connect them to your large ships through connectors and use their batteries instead of building large base batteries, because they're like fucking 120 power cells a piece compared to like the 20 for small batteries. And they don't hold anywhere near 6 times as much power. So let's go here, you go to GPS, go to new from current position, learn 1, we will change that to iron. And it'll show, and we just fly towards the thing, and then we can go down this hole. What we do need to do is go in here to our G menu and find our sorter block. And we will toggle block on off, and we will toggle it off so that it won't actually let anything through it anymore. Because we, like I said, we need some stone because we do need some gravel in order to make reactor components in order to make a small grid, or a large grid small reactor, which is something that should solve our power problems for now. And then once our power problems are completely solved, we can work on our little starter base bunker. Once that's going, we will be set to go. And once that's constructed properly, we can rip apart our lander completely. And as soon as... Are you not updating? You do not seem to be updating. Which is always irritating. Timer block. Are you firing properly? Stop, start, set up actions, run default. One of the first troubleshooting things you want to go to is make sure that you own all your blocks. Because I've had problems with things not working like drills and stuff, and it's just because you don't own the block causes the problem. So this is good. That's our thing full. I need to take that connector off, I think. Or actually I can actually fill the connector and grab some more stone on my way out. And again, the inventory management issue is one of the main reasons you don't want the stone early on, because gravel takes up so much space. I don't know if it's unique to it or just because you can get so much of it so quickly, so easily. It's just insane how much you'll just start. Me and my brother did a thing where we had some stone mined and gravel went literally everywhere. Every single container in our entire base had gravel just in it and filling it up, and we had to basically double our storage room in order to house anything after that. It's when we learned in the realistic inventory settings that you have to design storage rooms, which is kind of cool when you have to build a big room and put a whole bunch of storage containers in it, and you can put catwalks in it and make it look like some cool little industrial room in your base, instead of just shoving a couple of large storage containers in weird spots. And that's one of the weird angles that will actually overdraw the batteries completely. Normally this ship cannot overdraw its batteries even when full, unless you're going really quickly and you do funky maneuvers like I just did. So I did try to make it as user-friendly as possible for newer players. So I hope it works out for you guys. Oh shit, I'm going down way too fast. Whew, yeah, I learned from that. Do not go down fast when you're fully loaded with ore, because you will have problems stopping. Alright, so here is the lineup. 2, 4, 5, 6, F. Alright, so now our power should be handled. We go to our control panel, we can go to our batteries. We have 8 minutes of power. Because I'm charging this, so I'm just going to actually turn that off, and we'll be a little better off. Fully recharged. Oh, these are set to, stop that. These are set to semi-auto, actually, which could be causing us problems. Alright, so, control panel, I forget, the starting batteries are on semi-auto. Semi-auto is, I'm not sure, something that I don't, okay, so our power isn't anywhere near as bad as I thought. Okay. Recharge forces them to recharge, discharge forces them to discharge. Semi-auto, as it says, it'll set them to recharge until they're fully recharged, and they won't do anything until they're fully recharged. And then once they're fully recharged, they will discharge until they are completely discharged, and then that's the only thing that'll happen. So I think you can use semi-auto to effect in certain setups, but you have to design around it completely, and I don't know that it's a good idea or not. So if we recharge this guy with our other power, it'll take 5 minutes to charge, these last 9 minutes, so once the recharge is done, our battery power will skyrocket again. But let's go ahead and turn that off for now, because we have a decent amount of power on that guy. And that gives us 4 hours of battery. Oh, we're good. So our assembler was working. We need to grab our refinery and get some stone in it, because we need some gravel. So let's do stone. Alright, so we'll get some gravel. We need to turn our assembler back on. Production. Alright, so we need these. And we need silver. We might not have silver. That's the thing I did not consider. We do have 16 units of silver. Is that enough? Reactor components, that is not enough. That is enough. That is not enough. We need exactly 3 more. What we can do, who's silver? Production. Who uses, there's something else that uses silver, I forget what. I think, because I know our bottles used silver, but there's something in here that uses silver that we have that we can take apart. Am I wrong? Silver, reactor components is the only silver. Yeah, no, we need to mine silver. Alright, so back to the fray. So I'm going to scout out for silver, get a little bit, and we'll oh, here we go. Screw it. Let's grab this. Let's rip this guy apart. We have just enough. Alright, so that's solved. We got our power problems completely solved. So I'm going to cut it here. This video is going along. In the next one, we will plan out our base, and we will use our gremlin to build up what we can as quickly as we can, and try to get ourselves in business. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.